Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauryne if this is your first time here. And in today's video, I figured I'd switch up my content a little bit, and I wanted to start this new series called like my top fives as a way for you guys to get to know me a little bit better. So I thought this was a good idea to do because it could be my favorites in any category, not just beauty. So like today, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be talking about my favorite musicals, and so I figured it would be a way for me to open myself up to you guys a little bit more. So if you would like to learn more about me and my favorite musicals at the moment, please keep watching. So to narrow the list of musicals down, because I love so many, a little background, my family, we're a very musical family, and we were exposed to a lot of musicals growing up. A lot of movie musicals, a lot of actual musicals. My dad loves music and my mom loves movie musicals, so that kind of was always a thing in our house. So that's where my love for musicals come from. A lot of these musicals I have come to love by myself, and then there are some that I love to share with my family as well, and that I've been able to influence them to like as well. But because like I'll play it throughout the house or whatever. But the first one I wanted to mention was Aida. I was exposed to this musical because of Heather Headley, and I was doing research on the Black women who have won Tony Awards, and I saw that Heather Headley won the Tony for her performance. So I looked it up and I loved it. I really loved the African influences in the show. The music on this musical has the same music from Elton John and Tim Rice, you know, the duo who helped with The Lion King. This musical premiered on Broadway in 2000, so it's been almost 20 years since it's been on Broadway, and it was nominated for 5 Tony Awards and it won 4. The two people in the titular roles were Adam Pascal and Heather Headley. Adam Pascal was also in Rent, that's what a lot of people know him from. And Heather Headley has had an expansive career in music, theater, and these aren't really in any particular order. These are just the ones that I have off the top of my head. But the second one that I wanted to talk to you guys about was Phantom of the Opera. I've always been kind of familiar with the musical and the titular song, but I actually sat down and watched a performance of it for the first time back when I was in college, and it was the production that was at the Royal Albert Hall with Sierra Bogues, I don't want to butcher her name, and Ramin Carmelu, but I really loved that adaptation. I really think that Sierra was the perfect Christine Daae, and I was completely enthralled by her voice and her range and everything. That's just my all-time favorite production, and I've heard a couple more productions as well, but yeah, like I said, she was my favorite. The first one, I feel like the first one of any musical that you watch really sticks with you. It was recorded and it was on Netflix for a period of time, but if you can find it anywhere, I would definitely recommend checking out that version with Sierra and Ramin. Ramin has such a beautiful voice, so yeah, I'd recommend checking that out. One of the more recent musicals that I've loved over the past, I think, 2 or 3 years? It's probably even more recent than that, but The Great Comet of 1812. People call it The Great Comet for short, but it's really Natasha Pierre and The Great Comet of 1812, and it is an adaptation of the book War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy, and I really love that particular adaptation because as a Black woman, you don't really see a lot of other Black women in titular roles on Broadway, so that's really what drew me to the musical in the first place. And her voice was just so beautiful and pure, and the way just the music and the arrangements in that particular musical was really different, and it wasn't, I mean, Correct me if I'm wrong, because to me it wasn't as poppy as some musicals can be now to appeal to like a more mainstream audience. I think that was more trying to go outside the box and more different than, you know, others usually are. So I really like that. My favorite thing about the musical is Natasha's storyline. Like, the whole premise, I'm reading it right now, is since War and Peace is such a big book, the musical focuses on just a portion of it, and the main focus is Natasha's affair with Anatole and Pierre's existential crisis and his search for meaning. So I really love the way they did this musical. How many Tonys was it? This had, it was on Broadway in 2016, and during that award season for the Tonys, it was nominated for 12 Tony Awards. It was nominated for 12, but it only won 2. I remember trying to keep up with the Tonys that year, and I feel like a lot of people thought that this musical was snubbed at the awards, but I still really enjoyed it. Another older one that I really love is Miss Saigon, and that one's really sad and deals with adult themes and things like that. And being a fan of Lea Salonga and following her career, you would know that this musical was basically how she started her career. So this story is basically a tragedy involving a young woman in Vietnam and the officer she falls in love with, and all of the heartbreak that ensues with that. That one's pretty sad. If you're in for a tearjerker, I would recommend it. I really love the original Broadway production of that one because, you know, I love Lea. This musical also introduced me to Rochelle Angot, and I really love her. She's currently on Hamilton and West End, and Eva, who is also on, she did the revival of Miss Saigon as well. She's currently playing in Hadestown, another musical that I will be mentioning. I really enjoyed this musical because it, just for the main fact that it provided opportunity for Asian Americans and other Asian actors to be on Broadway, because, you know, that doesn't happen really. So just on that factor alone, that's why I enjoyed it too. And then, of course, the music and other things. The story was really dramatic, and it kept my attention. So that's why that one is on my list. The next musical I want to talk about, it really takes me back to my college days, and it's called The Last 5 Years, and it's about a couple. It explores their 5-year relationship, and it's told in chronological order and in reverse chronological order, and then the two characters meet up in the middle. So the adaptation that I saw was the movie version with Anna Kendrick and Jeremy Jordan, and I think that musical was fun, even though the topic was really talking about the start and end of a relationship. That can be kind of sad, but a lot of the music in between was really fun and cute, and it really takes me back to a time when I was on campus with my best friend and my sister, and like I introduced it to them, and we just have a lot of memories with that musical. So if you haven't watched it, I think this movie's on Netflix, but if it's not, I'll leave it in here so you guys don't have to go looking for it. But there was a time when the movie was on Netflix, but I would recommend trying that one out if you enjoy both of those actors. The last musical that I wanted to mention before closing out this video is Hadestown. That was the musical darling of last season. It is basically an adaptation of the Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. That one was the most nominated for Tonys this past Broadway season. So I listened to the off-Broadway adaptation first, and I really liked that one. I really loved the voicing and everything with that. But then the Broadway adaptation came out, and they fleshed that out a lot more, like as you would expect, since it is going on Broadway. So it's hard for me to pick which cast album was my favorite, because I really like both of them equally. But the musical, basically, like I said, is about Orpheus and Eurydice. It's about the journey that Orpheus takes to rescue Eurydice from the underworld. And so we have Orpheus, Eurydice, and Hades and Persephone. And it kind of parallels the relationships between both couples and the conflict that ensues between those two. So I really love that one. Oh, this one received a total of 14 Tony nominations, and it won 8. And this one also won Best Musical and Best Original Score. So yeah, that was really good. Yeah, I really love this one. I've been obsessed with this one too. This one has kind of been harder to get my siblings to like as well, but I really like it. I had to stand alone in the fact that I like this one. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the only one who likes it. It got nominated for 14 Tony Awards, so yeah, it was really good. I really like the musical choice. It kind of reminds me of Old Town Jazz and things like that. I can hear that influence in the way the music is composed and written and played. So that if you haven't heard about that one, I would suggest checking it out. And then, like, you cannot do a musical video without mentioning Hamilton. Like, this is an extra one. Like, I'm not even gonna include this in the listing because I know a lot of people probably feel that Hamilton is overplayed and overdone or whatever, but I really feel like Hamilton is one of those musicals that has the potential to run as long as, say, Phantom or Les Mis or even The Lion King has run, because the material and the way that it was casted and everything, that's something that can stand the test of time, and the history doesn't change and it'll always be applicable. And since it was open casting in regards to race, I really think that will always be something that appeals to people. I really remember when I discovered it. I'll never forget, I saw the Thanksgiving Day parade. It's always a good way for me to see, new musicals as they come out and stuff like that. So I kind of discovered it I think it was a year after it had been out off Broadway and it was just going into Broadway. So I discovered it based off the Thanksgiving Day parade, and I kid you not, I was listening to it nonstop from the November to the next November and got my siblings all hooked on it. That's a musical that we really collectively love together because of the musical style and how it has, different nods to different artists, and because just Lynn did such a great job with that whole musical in general. So I'm really excited to see what he continues to do throughout his career. So that's the end of this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had fun making it, even though it made me a little bit nervous because, I'm opening myself up a little bit more. I don't usually talk about myself that much on this platform, because it's easy to come on here, talk about makeup. I mean, it's kind of personal because you're showing your likes and dislikes, but it's also, you can talk about what you like, what you don't like, and then hop off. But this is something that I really love and I, bring into my life. And that impacts my life. So this kind of like I said, it's more personal. But so I hope you guys enjoyed it, me getting personal and getting to know me a little bit more. I look forward to doing more in the future. So comment down below what other takes of this video you would like to see, because I already have some ideas, but it would be nice if those ideas were confirmed and if you guys have a new idea that I hadn't thought about before. So yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.